There was once a writer who specialized in writing thought-provoking articles on a variety of topics. Through hard work and seemingly endless creativity, he managed to publish numerous works that fascinated his readers. But one day, he found himself in a creative slump and, finding no inspiration for his next writing endeavor, pondered on different topics. However, none of them interested him. He didn't bother searching through the bookshelves or on the internet, but it didn't work. A feeling of panic filled him because he was afraid that he had run out of ideas or become a victim of writer's block. However, after taking a deep breath, he made a conscious choice to let this matter go for a while and turned his attention to other pursuits. Strangely enough, when he wandered in a quiet forest with no intention of coming up with a topic or thinking about his writing dreams, an idea unexpectedly came to his mind. So, when he stopped trying so hard, he realized that what he was looking for emerged effortlessly. The writer experienced an interesting paradox. He wanted to be productive, but the more he tried, the less he could do. However, he was able to write again when he took off his shoulders the tremendous pressure of the need to stop caring and be productive. That is, trying does not always give us what we want. Moreover, these things can also work against us. What is happening here? The writer Aldous Hackle first defined the law of the counterproductive effect with these words. The harder one tries with conscious will to do something, the less successful we are. So, can we increase our chances of success when we consciously stop trying to be successful? Will results come when we stop caring? This video explores the law of adverse effect, also known as the law of reverse effort. A long time ago in ancient China, a trader heard a sage who was one of the wisest people alive. The merchant tried to impress Bilge by telling him how much money he had made. On his last trade deal, he showed the merchant his goods and asked him why he wanted to impress him so much. Since the merchant did not understand the question, the sage reminded him of the words of Lao Tzu and said, "Those who try to outshine others dim their own light. Be honest with yourself. They cannot know how wrong they are. Bragging about their success diminishes what they do." We have been taught that success requires effort, but in many areas of life, effort can also be counterproductive. The merchant was looking for the approval of the sage, but the more he tried, the less he could influence him. The sage reminded us that the more we push our achievements on others, the less he achieved so much. Why do we have to constantly remind others? People are bragging rights as much as possible. They are suspicious of those who need to get out. What are they trying to prove? Are they making up for something? It seems they have to convince the world of their value. Paradoxically, the more we feel we value the world, the less value we believe the world thinks we have. Were the trader not so eager to impress, it would probably be obvious that their success is their own. They could allow themselves to speak on their behalf. When moments of revelation arose, this sage would be more influential, not only because of the achievements themselves, but also because the lack of need to brag says something about the character of the trader. He is humble and secure in himself. He is also somewhat detached from external objects such as wealth and status. Thus, the law of adverse effect has come into play again. He sabotaged the results he wanted by giving too much importance to the opinion of the wise. The law of adverse effect also seems to work in relation to our psychological health. We often experience that we hinder ourselves when trying to control mental states. Professor David Clark writes in his blog called The Runaway Mind that excessive effort prevents us from overcoming emotional distress. For example, whether choking under pressure during a competitive exam or a job interview. Repeatedly reminding yourself that you have to do your best creates intense pressure. With great effort and determination, all your attention and energy are directed to your performance. You stand out. But then disaster strikes, you ruin everything, and have one of the most embarrassing moments of your life. According to Clark, the mental control paradox also applies to overcoming emotional distress. For instance, trying too hard to stop negative thinking often backfires and increases negativity. When we fall into the trap of the mental control paradox, the more we try to manage our thinking, the more we realize we're not as good at doing it. This is in line with the law of counterproductive action. Clark talks about scientific research showing that humans are not as adept at creating thoughts, but the law of counterproductive action seems to work the other way around. Referring to the story at the beginning of this video, he points to the flow of creativity and mental control. Most of the time, although humans are masters at generating ideas, forcing ourselves to come up with a creative solution, idea, or inspiration to advance our creative efforts is often useless. The harder we try, the less successful we become. Multi-talented artist and teacher Julia Cameron wrote in her book The Artist's Way that our ideas, instead of letting them grow organically, are often pushed, pulled, summarized, and controlled. The creative process is a process of surrender, not control. Mystery is at the heart of creativity, and surprise is often experienced as our creativity develops. For example, ideas arise spontaneously when relaxing in the shower, in the woods, when walking, and just before bed, when we no longer care. Ancient wisdom observed that when we are too concerned with the outcome, we are likely to sabotage our performance. The Taoist scripture Zhang tells the story of the frustrated archer who shot perfectly during training but failed to perform when competing for the prize during a tournament, showing how placing too much emphasis on the outcome works against us. No matter what we do, if we care too much about the outcome, we often feel tense, even if we are capable of performing the task perfectly. There is a sense of urgency. Our minds are preoccupied with the future and may even stay in the past. For example, we may think about past mistakes. In these moments, we can say that we are not actually there. The more worried one is about the task and its consequences, the more we may believe that the more control we have, the greater our chances of success. But the opposite is true. The more we worry and the more we try to control, the more likely our performance is to suffer. This is where the law of adverse effects emerges once again. The more you care about achieving success, the more likely it is to escape. We care too much, probably pushing ourselves in ways that hinder our progress. Ancient Taoist people understood how individuals could get in the way. When trying to achieve something, they advocated effortless action instead of pushing too hard. Athlete Christopher Bergland wrote in an article in Psychology Today that the state of optimal performance, also known as the zone, is contradictory to what we strive for. He explains how it came to be in a way. It may seem counterintuitive, but a no-striving mentality, also known as wu wei, increases an athlete's chances of entering the field, performing effortlessly, and winning. Wayne's paradox: trying less, trying harder to win at all costs, often more. When we investigate the mental state of effortless action, or being in the zone that brings great success, we discover that this state of being or doing is characterized by a lack of discursive thoughts about the past and the future. Although wu wei probably leads to consequences, these consequences are not the primary focus. The desired outcomes may be in the back of our minds, but our attention is completely focused on the task at hand. The task ceases to even feel like a task. The pianist writes to a piece of music becomes a novel. The football player becomes a game. When there are no worries about future success or deep thoughts about past failures, one's performance is not affected by these thoughts. When we stop caring, we can say that results come as a result of caring about the outcome. The mental and physical barriers we have created for ourselves disappear. They no longer hinder pure and sensitive action in the present. Action that interacts effortlessly with the current conditions. For example, to drive a car, we must be sensitive to our environment. Everything that happens in the environment is unique and specific to that moment. Of course, there are patterns and generalizations. But when we examine the details of what is happening on a particular highway, the cars, the people in those cars, their actions, thoughts, reactions, a unique, unprecedented symphony unfolds. It's something we cannot cognitively predict. We can only rely on our driving skills and ability to respond well to whatever arises. However, our minds create detailed predictions, and then we tend to try to control the future by constantly rehearsing these fantasies and our reactions to them. But when the moment comes for which we have prepared ourselves, we realize that our detailed plans have become pretty useless. Moreover, all these thoughts and mental preparations prevent us from reacting to what is happening. Only if we release this thought firewall can we create space to allow the environment to influence us, enabling us to respond to what is actually happening rather than what we imagine. Philosopher Dr. Wei Chang underlines the importance of Openness in the context of wu wei, stating that whether it is related to politics, governance, diplomacy, or any other activity, what wu wei calls for is the clarity within oneself that comes from openness. This is the ultimate understanding and sensitive course of action that is in harmony with the breadth of the universe. Whether we take the paradox of mental control or the Taoist concept, these ideas show how our thoughts can get in the way. Obstacles comply with the law of counterproductive effect. By releasing our anxiety about the outcome, we increase our likelihood of achieving the desired result. Results do not rise simply by focusing on them or by strongly desiring them. Paradoxically, the more we focus on the desired outcomes, the less likely we are to act in a way that will contribute to achieving them. Caring too much is similar to the trembling of the archer in the story of Zhang Xin. It's akin to a football player missing a penalty, or a writer struggling to write. And that's it for today. I hope you really enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please check your channel subscription, like it, and share it with someone.